So in Kikuyu, we say that kwado nigo tagagwo, you know. So you don't keep on going to the in-laws place, or you know, utago is like, think of chicken, right? The way the chicken just are like all over the place, you know, just walking around and all that, you know, getting here, getting in there. So I grew up hearing that, and especially because I have brothers, and it basically says you just don't get overly familiar with your in-laws. You know, you're friendly, but don't get overly familiar. The role of boundaries in in-law relationships cannot be underemphasized, you know. So for me, I already knew that. So don't get overly familiar, and that has really helped me. Because yes, I'm not saying that, you know, keep them at arm's length and all that, but the idea is that be friendly, but don't be familiar. You know, that familiarity, you know, the one that in Swahili we say kuzoeana, you know, or in Nigeria we say see finish, you know. So finish is when yani you've spent time with someone so much, or yani you just have no boundaries, you can talk anyhow, you can, you know, all those things. No. So just keeping very healthy and clear boundaries has really been great for me, and that is something I just kept hearing as I grew up and over time. And this is not just about in-laws, it's just with everybody. I'm very clear on boundaries. I don't cross boundaries with people, and if for whatever reason I even cross an inch of your boundary, I always apologize, you know. So for me, it was not gonna be a problem. Now, the thing with Nigerians is that they're very communal people, they're very social people, and they like to live together and come together. And when I'm talking about in-laws, I'm not just talking about, like, you know, brother, sister, mother, father, you know, necessarily cousins. Nigerians generally are social people, and they live with each other, like they are communal, you know. You can hear cousin, brother, you know, or somebody you grew up with is in your radar or is in your space, right? So all those encompass in-laws. And if you've heard the way Nigerians speak, they speak of our in-law. So you're like, I don't want to say community wife because it sounds bad, but you shall understand. Like when they call you our in-law, it's a show of like, we've accepted you, we love you, you are our wife, you know. So even if your husband is not there, that means that somebody else can step in. Okay, not not step in all the way, but they'll help you. For example, if you're having a problem and your husband is away, then they can step in for you. Like now we've seen a lot of people, families don't live together. Maybe the father has gone abroad, you know, in search of better, you know, opportunities. And the wife and the children are left behind for many years, some up to 10 years, up to 15 years, you know, 5 years, whether they've chosen to just live maybe in Nigeria and another one abroad, or maybe it's for a little bit of time before maybe the husband comes for them, or even sometimes it's the wife that goes and maybe the husband is left with the child, but in most cases it's the man that goes. So when they call you our wife, it means you'll not feel you know, like there's a gap. You and your children do not feel like there's a gap just because maybe your husband is not there. So you'll have people coming over, you know, taking care of you, helping out with sorting out of your problems, you know, and all that. So that our in-law communal something is good, but can also go the other way, right? So for instance, when I first moved here, you remember we were not staying in Lagos, we were staying in another state, and we didn't have family there, like direct family and all that. But of course, because my husband had worked there for a long time, he had people that he knew, that he grew with in Lagos, that were there and all that. And for me, I've grown up knowing that you don't go to someone's place without calling. You know, you have to call someone, ask, hi, how are you available on this day, at what time, and all that, you know. And I'm not saying it's a fully Kenyan thing, although Kenyans are very big on boundaries. But for us, we grew up like that. Maybe because I come from a military setting where everything is very prim and proper. So so someone to just show up, you know, just showing up was really shocking for me. Like, how does someone just show up? You know, and I really struggled with that. Like somebody will just, you know, hi, I'm in your area. Like, hi, of course, sometimes they won't come all the way to the door, but maybe they'll call my husband and be like, hi, I'm in your area. And because it was a small town that we were living in, I mean, 5 minutes, somebody's already there, or 10 minutes, and you can't just tell them, you know, we are not home and whatever, as much as we lived in a, you know, in a compound. so you just find that something like, let me just see this person, and the person want to come and see, and by then they mean well, they're coming to see, you know, our wife, you know, and visit and all that. And maybe because of the way I've been brought up, I can't just come and we'll eat stories, you know. But eating stories means like we'll just talk and you go. For me, I've been brought up that if a visitor comes to your space or in your house, always serve them something, you know. And for me, and it's not just the way I've grown up, it's also by nature. If you come to my house, you will eat, you will drink to your fill, regardless of whatever time that you come. You just don't come into my house or our house and not have anything. Even if it's a worker, somebody has come to maybe fix lighting or something small, I'll give them, even if it's bottled water, you know. If they're spending some time, you know, maybe fruits, maybe snacks like groundnuts and that kind of thing, right? So and I always make sure like in our freezer there's like pepper soup or something I can quickly, you know, just give, especially to his friends, to my husband's friends. So for me, having somebody come into our home is not a small deal. You know, I want to be able to, I have to give, you know, something. And thank God we always have bounty, you know, we always have something to share. But then it also means that if you're in the middle of something, your day is interrupted. For me, I work a lot from home for the past 10 years, since 2013, steadily. I've worked from home. Like my work has always been flexible to that extent, right? So at least I work from home right now at 60-70%. I only go for meetings and all that. So that means you've disrupted my day, you know. And if you come home, say in the middle of a working day, you've really disrupted my day, right? And essentially, when we've had small children since 2019, if the children are maybe sleeping or want to sleep, or maybe I'm exhausted, so coming over really interrupts my day, right? So you understand what I'm saying, especially for new moms. I'm sure you'll really relate to what I'm saying. So that thing really used to bother me, like, how do you just, you know, come over and all that. So but anyway, we adapted, because one thing, of course, my husband was always busy, so it never used to happen often. Or even when he's around, somebody wants to come and spend time. My husband's job is, he always travels, like he has a lot of travel. Sometimes in a week he'll be away for 3 days, you know. And when he's home, you know, we want to be home. And someone wants to come and they don't have a plan, like I'm here maybe for 2 hours, 3 hours. Some people just come, you know, maybe you start watching movies and all that, his friends then, not now, then. And for me it was such a bother, like, dude, you know. Especially because, one, the way I've grown up. Number two, I moved out when I was young, literally 20, 21. So by the time we got married, I'd lived alone for 20 plus years. You know, and it was the same setting. In fact, all the estates I've lived in, I have to call the gate for you or give you a code for you to be able to come. You can't just show up. There's like 3 levels of security, if I remember correctly, in all my homes, at least 2 to 3 levels, right? So in that town, it was quite a problem, because, you know, but when we moved to Lagos, things became easier. Here we have almost 3 to 4 levels of security, so you can't just show up at someone's, you know, gate. You know, you can't just show up at someone's gate and say I'm around. Even if you're around, there is no way, regardless of who you are, if you're at the gate, if you don't have a code to get in, you can't get in. So for me, that was a really, really big issue and something to adjust to. So I also felt that when Nigerians don't have boundaries, like, what is it? Is it a boundary issue? Can't they just give someone space, especially when you're newlywed? Can't you just give us space or whatever? So that was the thing. So when we moved to Lagos, it's no longer a problem. One, Lagos people are extremely busy. So you won't just see people showing up and all that. And if it's neighbors, also people, hi, how are you? Can I see you on Wednesday? Okay, what time are you coming? And all that. So it's different for us, and also where we chose to live and all that. So at least that is sorted. That is in our control. Number two, for example, when we had the babies, right? In Nairobi, in Kenya, we give each other space. Only a few people will probably come to the hospital when you've had a baby, and maybe you'll be there for 2 or 3 days, you know, maybe very close family and friends, they come and see you. But after that, they give you space. Like, most of your friends will probably come after 3 months, you know, after 4 months when the baby is bigger. You know, we are very Western like that. Like, we're not in someone's space. Now, in Nigeria, within the first week, there's a naming ceremony. So you have to see a multitude of people. Okay, also depending on the kind of party that you're throwing or the kind of ceremony that you're having. Sometimes you can just be maybe 5 people, you know, in the ceremony, so that means you don't get to see many people. But for us, our naming ceremonies have had many people, like really, really many people. I remember like for a second born, we had over maybe 150 people. It was on a weekday, can you imagine? And we actually did it at 4 p.m. So we had so many people. So imagine it's 7-8 days after delivery, you know, and you know, you have a young baby and you have to greet people because you can't now just hide yourself in the house. So that was a big issue. Then when you give birth, there is the omugwo. So maybe your mother-in-law wants to help you, you know, and they want to help you in your birthing and to massage your body and all that. And honestly, for me, Kenyans were conservative, to be honest. We are conservative people. In general, you know, at least in my time, I don't know about the people, you know, the Gen Zs and the rest, but in our time, you know, very conservative. Also, I've grown up, like I said, in a military setting, and I went to boarding school. As much as we went to boarding school, it was Catholic. So, you know, touching body, PDA, not a thing. So I remember my mother-in-law wanted to help me with the, you know how they massage your body, you know, with hot water and all that. And I couldn't do it. So when now my husband came back home and he was like, you know, our wife has refused for me to do it. So my husband laughed and said, if you don't know your daughter by now, she won't, you know, she's not that kind of person and she won't do it. And it was okay. So, I mean, I survived without all that and I'm okay. So the in-laws relations have been quite an interesting journey for me. The other thing that also may have prepared me is because I have 6 brothers and they're all married, you know, or have been, okay, they're all married, yeah? So I've never had an issue with any of my sisters-in-laws, you know, never, you know. Some are older than me, several are in my age set, you know, age group and all that. And honestly, I'll say, I've never had an issue. And if we've had an issue, it's just, no, we've never had an issue actually, unless they have an issue. But for me, I've never had issues because for me, I believe that if I love my brother, I have to love who he has chosen. Right? So there's no place for me to hate my sister-in-law. Why? You know? So having, my brothers having all been married before me, even our last born, and I've not had an issue, honestly. There's no point for beef. Why are we arguing with my sister-in-law? Are we arguing over a man? For what reason? He is my brother, he's your husband. At what point are we, you know, locking heads? So I never had that. So it's with the same spirit that when I got married that, I mean, I would never, for me it's like, I'm not getting into it with anybody. Of course, you won't always agree, but you know, like I said, boundaries and respect, keep it there. So I don't have that. Not to say that there has not been an attempt by an in-law, you know, and by this in-law, it's not somebody who is married yet or whatever. I don't, when I say in-law, just as I said, it's middle circle, not even in a whatever. So somebody, I think because of, you know, Kenyan wife or whatever, and because I keep quiet a lot, and I think people just think this one is just a pushover and all that. So this person, and honestly, let me give you a story. I knew from when I heard about this person, or even when I saw the person, I just knew there was a problem, right? I just knew I didn't want to get close to this person. Anyway, for some reason, they had to get into my space and all that because I said, okay, let me just give space, you know. It didn't take not up to 3-4 meetings, and the person tried to cause drama. So I've been married in this family for years, I mean, you know, and the person just comes and starts, you know, stories and all that. And it really upset me because I was like, I have 6 brothers. I've lived all these years with my in-laws. Like, my brothers got married in the 90s when I was still a child. You know, I have many nephews, many nieces. I have in-laws, even for my cousins and all that. And I've never had an issue. And somebody was trying, I call this person Johnny Come Lately, you know, was trying to come and cause me drama. But, you know, for me, I was like, it's because I didn't respect or adhere to my code. I was just trying to be nice to this person, you know. You know, do unto others as you would like others to do unto you. But this person was, you know, really fishy. So, you know, some people think that if you open a crack of a window to them, that they know you, you know, because sometimes, you know, for me, I'm giving, you know, I'll be there for you and all that. So this person tried, you know, some people come with all kinds of drama. Maybe they have their own insecurities or whatever. But I said never again. And that was sorted. So how to deal with in-laws, I think, is a universal thing. It doesn't have to be like, Nigerian or Kenyan or, American or whatever. In-law dynamics are quite interesting. Of course, they are also fueled by the culture of the people. Like I said, Nigerians are very communal, vis-a-vis us that are very, we keep to ourselves. Kenyans are more, we keep to ourselves. We are not big on, let's all live together. Like my friend says, oh my God, that she envies me so much that that in her house she's always stumbling over one in-law or the other, because they're always in her space and all that. So sometimes she just runs away and comes to hang out with me. The other thing is that I keep the boundaries that I want kept with me. For instance, I've never been to my mother-in-law's bedroom, because I don't expect her to get into my bedroom, so I will not go to her bedroom. The other thing is that it will shock you that I have never cooked in my mother-in-law's kitchen, And are we friends? Does she love me? Yeah, you don't have to overdo, to be loved. Because one thing is that there are people that are with her that do those things for her. Number two, whenever we visit, I carry food or we carry food. Sometimes I cook from here. I love to cook in my kitchen because I know the things that are in my kitchen and all that. So it's not like I go and sit there and expect to be served, or to be taken care of hand and foot, no. But I also feel like those boundaries are important. If for whatever reason I ever go to my mother-in-law's house and I need to do something, I will do it. But I also will not overly get into her space unnecessarily. And that has worked for us, When she comes to visit, she will sit there and she'll be waited on hand and foot. Whatever she wants to do, she'll be done for, So I remember even when before I got married and I visited, and I finished eating my food and I wanted to take the plate to the kitchen, she said, no. And she had somebody, serve me, with anything that I wanted. So long and short of it, I feel like respect and boundaries are extremely important, regardless whether you're getting into an intercultural relationship or it's just, your own tribe's mate or your own country mate. So for me, boundaries have worked, and respect. So I think you should borrow from the Kikuyu culture, where they say that, as in, you don't go and don't get overly familiar, with your in-laws. Be friendly, but don't overly be familiar. Don't let your handshake cross the elbow. Keep it there. Of course, love, respect wins at all times. So you tell me if you're in an intercultural relationship, or you've ever had to deal with shocks as per how people deal with each other, or if you've been in a toxic situation with your in-laws, how did that go and how are you maneuvering that, or what are your fears in regards to dealing with in-laws? But always remember, my tip is respect, mutual respect, and boundaries, and don't get overly familiar. Be friendly but not familiar. So MVPs, ciao, waiting to hear from you. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe and put on the notification bell so that every time we post, there's something to watch, so that you can learn, be entertained, and be educated. And please remember to share. Thank you. Bye-bye.